Well, good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are today. Looking forward to spending the next, few minutes with you, and really, 20 to 30 minutes together here. Talking about this whole aspect of generational wealth in your practice, in your business, or what we're calling planning for prosperity, and that really is just being forward thinking about your business. And when I thought about here, today, and what I wanted to address and how I wanted to, really give you some things to think about here today, and really some things to be actionable about today. What I recognize is that I didn't want to go back in and do things I've done before, what everybody else is doing, and talking about all the statistics around generational wealth and how it's not working well, and all of those things, that primarily it's still a flawed process and strategy. So what I really want to do is take a step back and really cause you to think about your own business and opportunities, and really ultimately, what role do you want this to play for you in your business? And depending on where you are in business, right, that could mean different things to different people. And so if you're a successor, you're probably, if you're succeeding somebody in business, meaning you're taking over somebody's business, you're probably looking at it one way. If you are, in that final stage of business, you're probably thinking about it a different way. And so there's a lot of different ways in which we can look at why to do this, how to do this, and things of that nature, which I want to get into here today. But, just want to welcome everybody here to the, Advisor Growth Network series. And, we're doing multiple of these events a month, just to, again, get you thinking, keep you on the leading edge of what's happening out there in the industry, and progressing and growing, and all of those things. That's, ultimately our intention here at Legacy. So, at the center of our business, like, if you know us, and hopefully you do, our stuff's about growth. We want to be working with growth-minded firms and teams and people. And so, like, at the end of the day, if you don't want to be growing some aspect of your business, of your life and all of those things, then we're just not really a good fit for one another. And so today, as I thought about growth, it's really about succession and overall growth, is really what today's about. And so when we look at that, and as clients come to us, again, the lens that you might be looking at this today and saying, listen, how can I be more connecting as an advisor across generations? Like, I see real opportunities for more planning, for more work, for more products and services and things that you offer in your practice. And so there may be a real revenue play there. It also might be the fact that you're looking at these statistical numbers as I am, and you're saying, wow, like, the dial's not moving on this thing. Families are not successfully transitioning wealth and having that wealth be, deployed or maintained or whatever is meant to be with it successfully, right? Statistics are not changing and evolving. Sure, there are some really good practices that are happening out there, by and large. The reality is that advisors aren't talking to enough of their clients about it, and there's a lot of reasons why that is. And clients, consumers, families are not talking about this in the context of their own families, and having enough of these discussions internally, and then again, business owners, when we look at the number and sale of businesses and transitions and the creation of wealth through business that's happening here, right in front of us. And I think, for the, next 10 years, there's going to be significant dollars that are going to free up, for this type of planning in the business owner marketplace. Again, all of those are the reasons from a revenue standpoint that you ought to be getting serious about, how to do this, and how to tackle this, and what it means for you. So all, kind of revenue related, and we're helping lots of firms look at it through that lens. The second is, we have firms that are in these conversations that are doing some generational wealth planning, some good estate planning, and legacy planning, just planning as a whole. But they really want to revitalize the way that they package it, and the processes and the systems that they have in place. They want to make more things more efficient, more reliable. They want to create capacity in the business, right? Like the ability to do more of this stuff and to systematize it in a way that you can do more, and you can also replicate those processes and those systems from client to client to client. And then you can also align the people in your team, big or small, right, with those process and systems. So again, for some of our clients, it's like, we really want to look at this. We really want to systematize it. Even when we're having conversations and doing some of this work, they're recognizing that they can do it better. And so they come to us to kind of help them think through that, plan through that, strategize through that. And then the last part is that we have clients that maybe have good revenues and have good systems and processes in place, but they want help in looking at their business, and they want to know ways in which they can expand the thinking and the desire of clients wanting to engage in their families, or business owner clients to be thinking about what's next when these liquidity events happen in your life, where everything's been reinvested or put back into your business besides a good, income, lifestyle income. Now you have all this wealth, or considerably more wealth. Like, well, what do you want to do next? And that's really like looking more into the business, specifically at clients and relationships and things of that nature. So, that's how we're thinking about it. That's how we're tackling it. And that's how, people are leveraging their relationship with legacy as a resource to look at things from that perspective. One of the things I thought I'd do today is kind of bring, just the concept of the planning horizon in to demonstrate how you can use the planning horizon, much like we talk about using it with clients, to be able to differentiate and show the fact that you started a different place with clients and things of that nature, but to also, practice what you preach and do a bit of that yourselves, right? And so excuse me, if you're familiar with this, again, it's like, if we look at the below the planning horizon as the strategies, tactics, and tools, or, how do we do this? What's the right team and people that we need, and when's the best time to be actionable on this, right? To solve it, right? That's one aspect of it. But like in the planning with your clients, looking at how to execute and all of those things and the solutions and all of that stuff, before you really understand what do you want to do and how you want to impact people, and getting clear on really your vision and your goals as it relates to maybe expanding the conversations, the depth and level of planning that you're bringing, and all of those things, the way that you're serving clients today, you really need to start first and foremost, above that planning horizon, and really getting clear on that. So, we're obviously doing a lot of that work with our clients as well through our coaching. The starting point of all of our coaching engagements is really helping the businesses get clear on what are the values of the business, what's the vision for the future that they want to create, and then what are the goals that are going to make that a reality. Again, just as we teach you, having that really moment of a strong, differentiating, foundational discovery with clients, right? Like the same thing that you need to do in your business as you think about making changes and things of that nature. Nothing really ultimately achieves at the highest level when we do it, just off the cuff or willy-nilly or whatever, right? Hey, this sounds really good. Let's just start telling people we're going to do generational wealth planning, or we'll do planning for your kids, or whatever it might be. Like, you have to be more strategic than this stuff to ultimately achieve at the highest level. You just do. And I think many of you get that, but it is what it is. So when we look at this, right, like above that planning horizon as it relates to, generational wealth and the implications of that, and just all things that you need to consider, because this isn't only about, like, today wasn't about, just how do you do generational wealth planning and what's the process and all that stuff. Today's really about how should you be thinking about this, where it fits, and why is it important to you, and all those things, right? Because some of you, might be sitting in here today and you're thinking about, why is this actually important? Like, why do we need to add this into what it is we're doing? So you need to get first and foremost clear on why is it important to you and or your clients about engaging that next generation, in these client families, right? That's the starting point that I'm talking about. And I'll kind of give you some things to think about as it relates to that. But the planning horizon, like when we look below the horizon, it's all about the who, the how, the when, because once you're clear on why it's important, right, and what you actually want to do, right, looking at the best way, the team, the resources, the people that you need to build and bring around you to do it successfully, and the timing of which you want to execute, actually, again, just like in your work with your clients, it actually becomes the easy piece, right? So we want to challenge you to use this planning horizon as you think more strategically and plan more strategically for your business, right? So staying in kind of this theme in this context, if we start with the what and the why, and again, there's probably more than what I'm going to put up here, but if we look at that as a starting, kind of variable around this, right? It's, what are some of the reasons in which, this is important to you? Well, first and foremost, right? Like, let's just say that you see some growth opportunities. Again, I see it all the time, underserved market opportunity, advisors that want to go up market and be dealing with more estate and legacy and generational high net worth, ultra high net worth types of families, have to recognize that the opportunities are plentiful out there because people are not leading and engaging and pushing clients in that realm in different ways. The opportunities are tremendous, and it's not having to a standpoint that's not only going and approaching clients, like it's just there's just tons and tons of opportunities to be opening up dialogues for different types of conversations and being able to demonstrate your depth and breadth of value and service there, right? So growth opportunities, I know for some of you that are on here, you're seeing that, right? You can accumulate significant growth in clients and relationships. Some of you that are on here today, and I know this just from conversations I have with my clients and advisors I meet all over the place, is that you're feeling like you're at risk. I have a number of advisors that are like, listen, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm listening to what you're saying. I've got an aging population of clients, and quite frankly, we're not connected with that next generation. So fundamentally, I've got a number of years left in this business, and money's going to transfer, wealth's going to transfer and pass on, and I'm going to lose it. I'm going to miss it, right? So, are you feeling at risk? I've had advisors come to me and say, hey, we need to speed this up. We need to build our practices around this type of planning because my clients are getting approached by other people. You hear me say all the time that every one of your best clients is several other advisors' best prospects, right? So you might be at risk of people just trying to poach your clientele. You got great clientele, but you're not taking them to that next level. You're not challenging them to think about what's possible in the planning, from a family standpoint, from a business standpoint. So you may be at risk. The other one I kind of just want to put in here is that, succession is right in front of me. So you might be in that final stretch, 5 years, who knows, maybe it's 10 years. You should be looking at this stuff, even if it's 10 years out, like what's the end game look like? What's going to be the value of my business? What's going to happen to the relationships? What's, how am I going to transfer this to somebody else or transition this to somebody else? And what's going to be the value of that, right? A young advisor in today's world coming in to look at a business to succeed, one of the first questions that they're likely going to ask is, what is the depth and stickiness of relationships beyond the generation that you're serving, right? And if you can't answer that question, and furthermore, if you can't demonstrate and provide them confidence, the values of businesses are going to be significantly lower than what they could be, and probably what you want them to be, and some for what you maybe even need them to be. So if succession is somewhere inside the next 10 years, how can you not begin to look at this, right? Like, how can you not begin to look at it? Right? My clients aren't getting any younger. Again, it kind of goes back to the earlier one, I'm at risk. I talked about that a little bit there, but I literally have had dozens of advisors tell me that, listen, uh, I've got an aging population of clients, and I'm going to be around for a while, and that's a problem, right? So it's not only your succession, but you've got a situation where your clients are getting older and dying, or making some of these decisions maybe without you. Um, we've had money leave. I've had clients again, where advisory firms that have clients have been poached and things of that nature again. So that might be some of the concern, is that we've seen money actually leave because we're not talking about these things, and we're just not making it a part of the conversation. Even if your clients ultimately never end up doing it, right? It's important to make sure the full array and depth and breadth of your services and the value that you can bring is very clear to those clients. Because even if they'll never do it with anybody else, because somebody else brings that type of thought process and creativity and all of those things to that relationship, it might cause them to leave even if they never do it. So, I think that that's a real challenge. So just some of the reasons why you're probably here, and some of the reasons why you probably should be here, are in that list, and things that you should be thinking about, and are likely very real and right in front of you. The good news is that we can address these, right? We can put strategies and structures in place, and we can actually solve these things, right? But where do you need to begin? I think for everybody, we need to do an internal business assessment. That's where I tell people to to lead. It's, you have to really look at what's the opportunity, what's the risk, and things of that nature. It's not something you're gonna, for most of you, I would imagine, it's not something you are going to be able to bring to all of your client relationships. But you might start by looking at relationships where that there's transferable wealth, right? They've got an amount of wealth and financial independence where they're going to be okay, and so therefore there is money that is going to transition to others. Now, it's important to look at, right? Because what is there? What could be, transferable, and all of those things. And you got to make some real business decisions, whether that makes sense for you to tackle it and spend a lot of time and energy and effort on it or not. But there's lots of aspects of doing an internal business assessment, on what is happening. I've had clients survey their clients, do focus groups of a sort, but going out to a small nucleus of clients and saying, listen, if we were to put together some things that would benefit your kids, and maybe even your kids' kids, and you as well, like, would you find value in that? Would that be something that you and your family would find value in, and participate in? I'm finding an overwhelming yes on that answer. I'm sure there's some no's out there, but I am finding that clients are really welcome to that, right? Having their advisors thinking about more than just them. You've seen in some of my previous webinars, when I look at some of the statistical data and the fact that children of clients are saying that my parents' advisors have never ever taken a step to try to meet me or know anything about me, and things of that nature. Some of the data and research is showing that, right? For me, I believe this is something in my clients, I want it to be a part of your process, right? As you're onboarding, like, you have to think about, how do we integrate this in existing relationships? 100%. I always look at both ends of that, right? We always want to look at, how can we bring this value, right? That this newly creative value to existing client relationships. You have to look at it that side, and then you say, how do we integrate this from day one with all the new people that we're bringing into the firm, into the business? Right? Making simple practices, right? Engaging the entire family early on in that process. Or if you're dealing with business owners, talking about it in the context of the family and future liquidity events, and that you're really positioning yourself in that way to really help and serve in that way, like that most trusted advisor to the family, to the owner of the business, is really where you want to be. So we have to make this a part of the process, consistent and moving forward. And again, that doesn't have to be overwhelming. There's subtle ways in which you can do that, communicate that. That's really, really powerful early on in relationships. But again, not too late to go to your existing relationships. The fourth thing is, hey, listen, it's January, whatever, 16th or 17th, wherever we are, but it's a new year, right? It's time to commit to timing. Hey, I've thought about this. I've talked about this for years, but we've actually never really built a strategy around it. The reality is you got to commit to timing around this. Hey, we want to have this ready to go and implemented and being able to be communicated to new and existing clients by, the end of the first quarter, right? It's not possible. It's totally possible, right? But you got to get strategic about it. You got to make it a priority. You got to make it important and things of that nature. But again, that's gets into the how, the who, the when aspects of this. Creating educational content. This whole thing around surveying clients, right? Part of what you will want to survey them on is like what aspects of this would be important to them. Now, creating educational content for some of you may feel overwhelming. Like, my goodness, like that would just be work in and of itself. But if you think about some of the basic fundamentals of content that and that seem easy to you today, but don't seem easy to your clients, right? Don't seem easy to the kids of your clients, right? There's significant value in there. And so I've seen some of my clients create educational content libraries, right? Just these are short educational videos. You can actually just script all of this stuff out and you can hire other professionals if you don't want to be on the videos or things of that nature. All of that stuff is being done at scale and very, very fairly priced, right? So there's all kinds of ways you can do it to professionalize it and all that stuff, but you also don't have to overthink it and overwhelm around it. Educational video series and things like that are becoming a huge hit. I have some of my clients that have actually built subscription services that parents are paying for on behalf of their kids, or that they allow their kids to actually buy into on a subscription basis. So, and not knowing what it was going to go like and how their clients were going to buy into it, if they would or wouldn't, but you're seeing a huge attraction to that, right? So educational content, and there's lots and lots of stuff out there. We'll be putting something out. My team's working on something right now in this realm around generational wealth and how to have the conversations on many realms and things of that nature. So, we'll have a new tool coming out, here pretty soon, but there's all kinds of stuff out there. One thing that you should look at, I'd urge all of you to get a copy of this book, right? This is, it's funny on my green screen, it's taking that out, but it's the book's titled, It Makes Total Sense. And it's by the author is actually an advisor, Tom Henske, right? CFP. Anyways, what he's done in there is put like 12 money lessons, and the concept is, right, you should read it first and foremost, but then you can have your clients read it. And it gives lessons for how they can then take what they've learned and what was taught and talked about in a chapter, and they can actually, it shows them how to relay that down to conversations with their kids. Super, super helpful. I got a phone call literally today on my cell phone from one of my long-standing clients and friends. And he said, man, thank you so much for introducing me to Tom. He's unbelievable. The book's unbelievable. The concept's working. So he's off and running with it and using it. So there's all kinds of resources and things that are out there for you. You just got to figure out what do you want to do and how do you want to impact people and build it in, and then like commit to a plan and strategy and go do it. Right. So it's like anything in life. You got to commit to it to do it. So creating educational content, I think is the next level of this, can be game-changing stuff and not that overwhelming. YouTube channels, all of that stuff has made things so accessible and easy to do. The other thing is share it with, COIs, right? Like I think that there are, in many cases, there are very select COIs that are worth are worth really bringing this level of quality and value to at the end of the day. Like I think there's a lot that, just are not even worth sharing this stuff with, but you know who the ones are that are good and quality and are the ones that reciprocate and create opportunities for you. But letting them know the type of work that you're doing, like, I'll give an example. Like I've got a client who is actually using this book in their business, and what they're doing is they're running kind of study groups with their clients, and they're coming in and they're actually talking about it. They're talking through each of the 12 lessons, right? So you're creating a community of your clients. People are coming in, you're able to facilitate, so you're building credibility, you're building value, right? And it all is just going to lead to each and every one of them thinking about how they can then transition those conversations down to their clients, at the next level, right? The tool that we're putting together is different from this, but again, it's going to give you a bunch of those talking points and lessons and things of that nature that, again, it's for you. It's a tool that we've created for you to be able to use, with your clients. So, just another thing to be thinking about, everything we're talking about here, right? Like, whether it's ultimately dealing with generational wealth or being successful in client relationships that you have today, with inside of the business, the whole basis for our work is about getting you on the client side of the table. We wrote about, in the right side of the table, my late brother Scott and I, around this concept of becoming the client's most trusted advisor. And ultimately, if you're the one that is broaching these conversations and helping clients think about it and challenging clients to think about it and why it's so important, you're the one that's going to be closest to them and really understand what matters to them and things of that nature. So it's really about aligning you on the client side of the table and taking that one step further, to really being at the center of their lives. We've seen a tremendous scaling of practices over the last number of years, right? Where advisors are segmenting and they're really wanting to focus on a smaller group of clients, yet very profitable clients that they can go much, much deeper with, as opposed to having a large array of very surface level relationships, right? And you can still have a growing and thriving and very profitable business, even with less numbers. In fact, I think you can do exceptional work and grow exceptional businesses, even thinking about it from that standpoint. But when you think about some of the resources for us, in particular, what I'm talking about here today, there's two things that in our advisor growth journey that I would direct you to, right? So if you've got access into the advisor growth journey, into the membership portal, there's two areas that you ought to go into. First and foremost, if you're not there, and when I said above the planning horizon, around engaging deeper with clients and getting into kind of the estate legacy generational wealth planning, it might make sense for you to go through the legacy stage, which is the fifth stage in the advisor growth journey, right? You can go in any direction you want. You can go into any stage, but in the legacy stage, it really is about getting clear on the vision that you have for the business so that you're building, kind of lasting growth for the business. So there's a whole process going through there around our advisor growth blueprint, which is an awesome exercise if you've never been through it. Even if you've been through it, I have my coaching clients go through it all the time. Like, you should go through it again, even if you went through it, but go through it with the direct lens of, I want to expand my business, my value prop into this space of, again, estate legacy, generational wealth planning, and think just about that element of your business as you go through this. The other area that I would absolutely tell you to go into, is the anchor stage, right? And the anchor stage is really all about, the client process. It's about how to organize, the team and the organizational operational structure of the business. Client clustering we have in there, which is our form of client segmentation, but that just blows traditional segmentation away. But there's a whole section in here too around generational wealth, right? Tools, processes, structures, that if you're not seeing that or using that or deploying it, you're really missing the boat. So, again, we've built a lot of tools and resources and structures for you that you can just integrate into your business. And we're here to help you with that, as well, every step of the way. You just got to reach out and ask, and we're here. And then Qualitate, right? Like the whole premise of us building the Qualitate application is so that when you're having these conversations, that you can actually build deliverables that are different from your e-money or money guide or asset map or whatever traditional deliverables that you're creating on the quantitative side of things. But these are all qualitative focused. What do your clients value? What's their vision for the future? What's their thinking and thought process around family and money and wealth and transfer of wealth and all of those things? We've got tools and questionnaires and all kinds of things in Qualitate that you can then leverage and create powerful deliverables. Again, Qualitate was designed for you to be able to report on the important conversations you're having with clients, but also to really take a lot of the heavy lifting out of it for you and things of that nature. So, and we'll talk about it in an upcoming webinar, but we're embarking on a whole new rebuild of Qualitate, which is going to make what even exists today, which I love and I think works great, work even better. Anyways, I won't get into it today, but we've already got a tool that works amazing for short money that you can tap into to use, again, to create these deliverables, help make your process look more professional and actionable and all of that kind of stuff. So I really hope this delivered something for you today and something different. Like that's what we want to be doing here. Half hour of your time. Come on, good ideas, get you thinking, hopefully get the juices flowing. We've got more events coming up. Actually January, the end of the month, we've got Qualitate for Financial Advice. So we are going to talk about that new build and where we're going with it, what it's going to do. We're going to do some things coming up after that on Chat GPT. If you're using that or not using that, we're going to tell you what we know about it and share some insights and thoughts around it. And then later on in March, we're going to do something on what we call 3-tier marketing, which is just about building strategic marketing plans and just how in a simple way these 3 tiers can help you be more actionable and drive greater results than I bet and I imagine than what you're doing today on things that are important for you to spend money at or time on and things of that nature. It's all kinds of marketing that you're doing in your business where you're spending time and money and energy and effort, but that you don't plan as strategically as you could. And it's not that hard to do, but it doesn't often get done. But doing it means you get to drive a bigger result. So I hope that you'll join us for those. Again, if there's ways in which we can help, you can always reach out to Michael, please do. But thank you for being here today. And again, my hope is that you got some good ideas, concepts and things, and we got your motor running. Let us know where we can help. And we'll look forward to seeing you in the next series. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Cheers.